All right, everybody, welcome back to another Ask a Dev Unreal Engine tutorial. My name is Kevin. We are doing the first ever Quickplay challenge tutorial where, generally speaking, somebody asks a question in Discord and it might be fun to have a little history or recording of the answer. And it's basically just going to be me stumbling through a quick answer to that in video form. Now, today's question comes to us in the form of I want to create reappearing platforms without using delays, since I understand those are inefficient in a lot of times, and by using timer by events. The timer by event problem is it won't allow me that I can see to use two time variables. And I believe that is true, and we're going to dig into this here in a second. One for the time for the platform, one time for the platform hidden, and one for the time the platform is shown, because those values are different. The platform might be shown longer than it is hidden. So that is our challenge today, a reappearing platform. If you like what we're doing with the channel, there's lots of ways to support it. We have the PayPal tips down below. We have the Patreon. We have super chat, super thanks. We have the super stickers during live streams. There is our Discord server. If you're a maestro in your field, hop in, help answer questions. That's awesome. Obviously, spreading the word is also super helpful. Let's hop into this quick play challenge. So these are going to be largely unrehearsed, unscripted, and everything. I will try to edit out all of the painful stumbling so that we get to the important stuff fast. But we've got an Unreal Engine third-person project tutorial. We're going to start with a blueprint. This blueprint is going to be an actor. And this actor is going to be BP platform base, let's go with. Okay, we're going to need a couple things in here just to get to the main event. Let's add in maybe a cube. We'll flatten it, stretch it out, and make it something like that. And let's just drop that in our level and see what that looks like. Okay, great. So that's going to work. And what we'll do is, we also need to do a quick editor preferences thing, middle mouse, because I cannot work like this. Here we go, middle mouse. All right, so we're going to take this platform and we're going to move it to the end here and up off the ground. And we're just going, this is just a good spot for it to appear and reappear so that maybe we can make the jump to the other side. So the sizing of this looks pretty good. Could probably be a little bit wider, and now we are there. All right, so when we play, it's there, and we can come up here and we can walk across it. All right, perfect. Now let's make it appear and disappear. So let's start with my first guess at method 1. And what we're going to do is on begin play, we're going to do a timer by event. Now this one might actually be the more complicated one, but let's see. Timer, set timer by event, and I'm going to set my time in this case to be 1 second, and we are going to create a new function or event, and this is going to be a custom event. Where are we at? Can't find it when I type it in like that. Add custom event. This is going to be event manage. That is so wordy. Platform. Okay, now what we want to do in here is we are going to, when we trigger this, we are either going to set the platform to visible or invisible. So first, let's just get this working. So we're going to drag off our cube and we're going to set the visibility on this. Nope. We're going to get the visibility on this. Visibility. That's weird. It's kind of a weird looking. All right, maybe that works. All right, so we're gonna get that. And then what we're going to do is we are also going to set the visibility on our cube. You know what, rather than doing the cube, yeah, let's just do the cube for now. Set the visibility. And we're going to set the visibility to the opposite of what it is. So right now, if it's visible, now this might be kind of tricky for your brain if you're new to blueprints. And also if you're new to blueprints, check out the fundamentals. But what we're going to do is if the cube is visible, we're going to set it to not visible. And if the cube is not visible, we're going to set it to not visible, which is double negative, which is visible. So we can just use this as a toggle. We don't need a toggle. We can just do this. So here's what's going to happen. every 1 second from this event, our platform is going to, if we set this to looping, appear and disappear. So let's go. Let's give this a shot. So there it is, there it goes. There it is, there it goes. Now here's the trick. The trick is, there's a couple tricks. I'm guessing we want our invisible platform to not be navigable when it's invisible. So maybe rather than using the cube, well, we have two options. Let's see here. If we get a reference to self, let's check. Not the cube. Let's get a reference to self. And let's set our visibility on this one. On the default scene root. I don't know that this is going to change the collisions at all. So we may actually need to do collisions as well. So let's just try this real quick. This should still work. It should still appear and reappear, but it doesn't. Okay, so we are doing this correctly. And what we need to do is, in addition, we need to set our collision enabled. So let's set collision enabled. And what we will do is, unfortunately, we do need to do a little bit of branching. And so if that's the case, we might as well just change this. So let's just put a branch in here now. That was cool. That was a cool little way to do a toggle, but just since we have to do the branch anyways because of the visibility. So what we'll do is, if it is visible, what we are going to do is we are going to set it to be invisible, and we are going to set our collision to be no collision. Okay, and then let's copy all this, paste it down here. And if it's not visible, we're going to set it to visible, and we're going to enable collision. Physics, let's do collision enabled. Okay, let's try that. So there goes our disappearing platform. Okay, and we fall through it. Perfect. Okay, so we have a appearing and reappearing platform. So now we have our base. Now, if you recall though, the trick to this is we want to be able to set the amount of time that it's visible separately from when it is invisible. So I have a couple of ideas on this. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do method 1. Trying to think out loud here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to basically create a counter. Okay, so let's create a counter. Method 1 is going to be the counter method. This is going to be our visibility counter. This is going to be an integer. Okay, and actually, let's not call that counter. Let's call this viz time in seconds. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to default this to 3, maybe. Let's say 3. Okay, and then what's going to happen is when we begin play, we're going to come into our timer loop. Our viz time in seconds is going to already be set. We're going to come in to manage our platform. We're going to do all of our stuff, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to, let's see here, first time through 3, do all the stuff. Second time through 2, 1, etc. So if the platform, let's say we want to make it visible for 3 seconds. Let's see if we've got this. So is our platform visible? It is visible. Here we go. We want to check that our timer is greater than or equal, let's say greater than 0. Okay, if that is, or actually let's say no, we're gonna flip this. We're gonna say less than or equal to 0. If that's true, if our counter is less than or equal to 0, then we are going to set our visibility. So at this point, the first time through, this is our visual time, and our visibility time in seconds is 3. We come through, it's true, it is visible, so this one's true. Our visibility time in seconds is 3. Is that less than or equal to 0? No, it's not. So that's false. And then we go about our merry way. So we basically go again. And what we want to do is on both of these cases, we want to decrement our counter. So I'm just going to take our viz time in seconds and I'm going to decrement this, which basically means subtract 1. So every time through this loop, we are going to subtract 1. So let's go ahead and do this. And this is a way to do this without using delays and without using 2 timers. Okay, so each time this is going to go down. Now, if let's see here, then we're going to come through here, we're going to come in, and if it's false, basically meaning the platform is invisible, that means a second has passed, and what we will do is we are going to reset our visibility time. So let's set our visibility time back to 3 in this case, and we're going to make this a variable here in a second. Let's just see if we got that right. So when we come in, 1, 2, 3, invisible, 1, 2, 3, invisible. Yep, it's working. Very cool. Okay, so let's just make that a variable real quick. So we'll take our visibility time in seconds. Oh, this is actually already a variable. And what we'll do is we'll make sure that this is instance editable and exposed on spawn. Reason being is we can, oh, we actually need one separate variable here. Hold on. So this is our visibility time in seconds. This is what the user is going to set. And when we begin play, what we want to do is we need a local variable for this, or something that's not exposed. So let's create another one. This is going to be viz time counter. We are going to use something called viz time counter. Reason I'm doing this is when we start, what I want, here, let me show you what I'm talking about. When we pick our platform, we're going to be able to over here specify for this platform, it's 3 seconds. For the next platform, it's 2 seconds, and so on. So we need them all. If we, for example, let's get a couple platforms in here. So now we have 2 platforms. I'm going to make this a 5-second platform and this a 3-second platform, for example. So what we need to do is when we come in here on begin play, we're going to set our viz time counter to be equal to our viz time in seconds. This should be already done just because we've set it in the actor. And then rather than using our viz time in seconds here, I'm going to use my viz time counter everywhere. Not the set I want to get. Okay, so if our viz time counter is less than or equal to 3, we're going to decrement that. And you'll see why we did all this switcheroo here in a second. And then what we'll do is we'll connect that up. All right, and then when we come back in here, when we're finished, if it was invisible for a second in this case, then what we could do is we could say, oh, okay, we need to reset it back to that start time. So that's why we needed the 2 integers. So we're going to set it back to our viz time in seconds. This way, what it'll do is when it resets on the false loop, it'll go back to 5 seconds or 3 seconds for the other counter. So let's see if we got these working. All right, so that one disappeared first and reappeared. That one, then they disappeared together. And so they're kind of on, okay, they are not on opposite tracks. So after we get our disappearing, they're basically appearing and reappearing every second. So what did we miss here? So it comes in, it's after the first time through, viz counter. Oh, we're setting our viz time in seconds. I messed that up. We need to set our viz counter to be our viz time in seconds. All right, this time will be good. All right. So there goes our first platform. There goes our second one. So let's count that. 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know, it's kind of hard to tell, but they are definitely moving at different rates. So we would have to probably print a timer, etc. But I'm going to, you know what we could do? We could probably, in this loop, let's just print. Let's print our counter just to make sure. And this is going to be hard to see if we have 2, so let's just start with 1. So here we go. 3, 2, 1, 0. 3, 2, 1, 0. Perfect. So that one is working, and our timer is set to, when we pick this platform, set to 3 seconds. So if we change this to 7, let's just double check that we get 7, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Perfect. Okay, so I believe we're good to go. All right, now, as you can see, without using a second timer, without using delays, we were able to set up our platform to appear and reappear with a different time value for the visibility portion than the invisibility portion. Now, you could make this, you could take this a step further. You could take a hidden time in seconds, visible time in seconds, hidden time counter. You can get the idea and hopefully extrapolate from that. So this is method 1. Now, method 2 that I was interested and that I wanted to try was to basically reset this timer by event. So here's what we're going to do. I am going to comment all of this because I want to upload this for Patreon. So here, let's go ahead and take this and comment this. This is going to be method 1, and this is going to be second counters. I don't know, second counter method. Okay, and then let's also do this. All right, now method 2, here's what I want to try to do. I want to try using timers only without keeping track of all these integers and stuff. So what we're going to do in this case is we're going to set a timer by event, same like we did before, but this time we are going to promote this to a variable. So this is going to be our visibility timer, visibility timer handle. And then what we're going to do with this is, depending on whether we're visible or invisible, we're going to try to reset this timer. So let's see if we can get this to work without creating an infinite loop, which is what one of our particular members come up with. All right, so here we go. So let's get our time here. Let's set it to 1 second for right now, looping. And what we're going to do is add an event. Add a custom event. This is going to be event timer handler, for example. Okay, now what I want to do is when I come in here, that means this is triggered. So we have successfully triggered this event. Now the problem is when we do this, what's going to happen is if we get our timer handle, let's get our visibility timer handle just by dragging it on here. What we would like to do is basically change whether or not it's a 2 second or 5 seconds, depending on whether or not the platform's visible. But unfortunately, there is no way to change the time. Set visibility timer handle we can do, set members in timer handle. That so far we haven't found a way to handle that. We can check to see if it exists. We can get the remaining time. We can invalidate the timer handle. So we can do a lot of things in here, but supposedly if we just recall the timer again, we can, it'll just work. But just for kicks this time, I'm going to go ahead and invalidate this timer. And the reason I'm going to do that is because I am going to feed right back into here, which is going to start this whole thing again. But we are going to change the timer. So once again, I'm going to create another variable. I'm going to call this visibility time, visibility timer. I'm going to switch these. All right, let's call this timer method viz time, so it's clear. And this one we're going to make a float. I'm going to default it. Save this. We'll default this to 1 second to start with. All right, and we're going to set the value for our timer handle. We're going to make it looping. Now what's going to happen is after, and the only thing that's important is we have to make sure that our loop is not too short. But anyways, we're going to come in here. We're going to get our cube. We're going to get the visibility of it. And we are going to, depending on what the visibility is, we're going to change a couple things. So if the cube is visible, we are going to set this time to 1 second. Set the time method. So if it's visible here, we are going to do a couple things. We're going to, same thing we did before, we're going to set the visibility to invisible, and we're going to set the collision enable to no collision. And then we are going to say that it's going to stay invisible for 1 second for right now. Let's just see if we can get it working with 1 second. Okay, then if it's not visible, we're going to do the exact same stuff, except we're going to make it visible. And instead of, and we'll keep this, and we're going to make this collision enabled query in physics, and we're going to set our timer value. Okay, and we're going to go 1 second. Now, when we're done with this, what we want to do is because we've just invalidated our timer, so this is only going to execute once. If we press play, what's going to happen is it's going to disappear. Oh, it's appearing and reappearing, but their time, wait, hold on a second. Did we not clear and invalidate? Oh, we didn't clear it. Clear and invalidate the timer handle. Okay, let's try that again. Begin play, set timer by event timer handle, compile, save, play. Okay, that's what I was expecting. It does not come back. Reason being, first time through our timer, what do? We invalidate the timer handle, so it's no longer there. So what we want to do when we're done is we want to come back through this loop again. So I am going to create another event just for clarity. This is a custom event. This is going to be event restart timer. And this is going to feed straight into here. And at the end of each of these, I'm going to call restart timer. Now, this is where we compile and save, because if we create an infinite loop, Unreal will either get mad, maybe crash, who knows. So let's see here. First off, does our platform appear and reappear? That seems to be working, actually. That seems to be working pretty well. And we have all our collision set up, etc., which is great. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we are going to promote the time value to a variable just like we did with the other one. So here's what we'll do. Let's see, timer method visibility time. Let's promote this to a variable. And we're going to make it instance editable, exposed on spawn. And this one is actually kind of even easier to have two different timers. So let's do this. Ooh, that's kind of cool. Let's duplicate this. This is timer method visibility time, and we're going to do timer method invisibility time. All the spaces in the variables. Okay, so now we have a visibility time and we have an invisibility time. So let's make sure we get this right. So if it's visible, we are going to set it to invisible. We need to swap these. So here we're going to use our invisibility time. All right, so what that means is on our cube, we should have in our variables over here on the right, we should have a timer visibility time and a timer invisibility time. So let's make it invisible for 2 and visible for 7, just so we can see the difference notably. All right, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2. There we go. That is totally working. So we did it. And let's flip these just for fun. We can actually just create another platform that has the exact opposite. We will go ahead and make this visible for 2 seconds and invisible for 7, for example. So this one, the one on the left, is staying invisible. I can actually eject. This one on the left is staying invisible for 7 seconds, while the one on the right is the exact opposite of that. So that's it. We did it. That's our quick play challenge. We basically set up a quick answer to one of our members' questions as far as how to set up a reappearing platform without using delays, and 2 different methods, one using a counter, one using a timer that resets itself but doesn't actually reset itself, it just rebuilds itself over time. Now, there are many different ways to potentially do this. If you have ideas or other cool ways that you think would be cool to build a disappearing or reappearing thing or platform, go ahead, throw those down in the comments. We love seeing those. Maybe we'll do another quick play with one of those methods just for learnings. As always, thanks for checking out the channel. Thanks for helping spread the word. Thanks for being the best part about this, our community. I hope to see you all in an upcoming live stream. Take it easy.